Absolutely unfreaking believable. Are you kidding me with that? 4th and 35. You call a timeout to set your defense. You're ready to beat Nick Saban in your first ever Iron Bowl there. This win would have done massive numbers for Auburn. Alabama was ready to be beat. They couldn't even complete a damn snap. Milroe couldn't even field a snap or throw the ball away. You had 3rd and 20 to win after you muffed a punt. If you caught the punt, the odds of you winning go up. And then it's 3rd and 20. You miscontain. You miscontain, and Milroe pretty much gets 20 yards and a first down. And then he gives you a gift. Instead of throwing the ball out of bounds after fumbling the ball, he falls on it. They lose 25 yards. Then guess what happens? They call a timeout. Milroe creates another penalty. He steps in front of the line and goes back, and it's a loss of down. It's 4th and 35. You rush 2 people. That means you have 9 people in the end zone. How do you allow that to happen? Nick Saban made a deal with the devil. He is the luckiest mortal alive. He always pulls these games out. It's sickening. You're never going to beat Alabama. You're never going to beat Nick Saban. I knew that they were going to hit that play. I mean, and the muffed punt. But on 4th and 35, you have 9 players back in the end zone. You play like a perfect game against these guys. Okay? Peyton Thorne turns into Joe Burrow. Peyton Thorne plays the game of his life. After New Mexico State, I said that Auburn was tanking New Mexico State because they were holding everything back for Alabama. And now Alabama, this flawed Alabama team that makes the same mistakes they made against Texas, they're going to win the SEC championship. They're going to beat Georgia. Who cares that they laid an egg today? It's just like the Bryce Young game. When you have Nick Saban beat, you got to beat him. How many times are you going to be able to have a 4th and 40 to win against Alabama? How many times? I've never seen a worse defended play in my life. The chance of completing a 4th and 40 is like a Hail Mary. On the road, Alabama and Isiah Bond catches that ball single coverage. It looked like a fade route from the 2-yard line, and it was from the 40-yard line. Nick Saban made a deal with the devil. The guy cannot be beat. He always finds a way. With a first-year quarterback that was struggling, Auburn plays the perfect game. This is the Super Bowl. This is Hugh Freeze's first game at Jordan-Hare. They're going to have the biggest win. Alabama's going to be out of the playoff picture. Finally, Texas fans can exhale. Oregon fans can exhale. Auburn gets a much-needed win after losing 3 times to these guys. After Saban tormenting you for 2 decades, you now welcome in a new era of football. You welcome in Hugh Freeze and a new era of football. You welcome in a win against Saban and Alabama when you have a terrible offense, a quarterback that can barely play, barely any wide receivers. The New Mexico State game might as well be 40,000 years ago. And Nick Saban and Jalen Milroe, they get a botched punt. You lose contain after playing spy perfectly. And then on 4th and 40, they hit that play in the back of the end zone. It just made me speechless. And then I flipped out. I've never gotten that angry because I think I'm partially cursed. I think I'm cursed. I mean, I was rooting for Auburn. I want Bama out of the playoff. I'm cursed. How can you lose a game like that? You're just cursed. God just hates you. Literally, I've never seen a 4th and goal from the 40. I don't think I've ever even seen it run. I've never seen the play run. I've never even seen a play like that occur. It will almost never occur where a guy throws the snap over the quarterback's head 30 yards and you end up getting a touchdown on that drive. What is Auburn like? 2A high school football? It's unbelievable. All you have to do is guard against a Hail Mary and compete. And you know what? I was saying no interference, no interference, no interference, no interference, no interference. There was no defense. The guy was wide open. Stupid to rush 2 guys. Should have rushed 4. You got to put pressure on Milroe. You got to get a sack there. It's a good lesson. But it's a lesson you're going to lose on that play. And you barely can go to a bowl game. It's going to be the longest year in history, and you're probably going to lose to them probably 3 more times. And you might not ever beat Saban again. That might be the closest that Hugh Freeze comes to beating Nick Saban at Auburn. And now Alabama can go beat Georgia and go into the playoff. They might even win the national championship because of that shenanigans. They didn't deserve to win the game. I just think that Auburn's cursed. I mean, I've never seen it play like that ever. Man, I was rooting for Auburn. I love this Hugh Freeze redemption story. I was ready to celebrate. I was so ready. It would have been the biggest win. I mean, Auburn loses to New Mexico State by 30. They bring in Peyton Thorne. Peyton Thorne's been terrible all year. He plays the game of his life. They have Alabama right there. Just about woke up the whole neighbors. I mean, that's a game that you literally could set your couch on fire. That's a game that'll make you as irate as anything. How in the living heck you lose that football game? How? Only Auburn, only me rooting for that team could. What have I done in my life to deserve that type of pain on a single play? And listen, I'm not the biggest Auburn fan, but that's absolute horse you know what. And now I have Alabama fans celebrating again. I mean, these Alabama fans got to feel guilty at some point that they have Nick Saban, that they had a quarterback that's benched this year, a new offensive coordinator who's 22 years old, calling these plays. A flawed Alabama team, but one with so much talent, and Hugh Freeze coaches the game of his life. And so does Ron Roberts, and all that's going to be remembered is that sickening. I mean, you do everything but win. It's like you're going to get married to the girl of your dreams. You're going to propose to her, forget the wedding, or you forget the ring to proposal, and then suddenly she like meets another guy, but if you would have been there, you would have gotten married the rest of your life. I mean, this win could have set Auburn up for the rest of Hugh Freeze. I don't know how they recover from it. I don't. You're going to recruit well, da-da-da-da-da. Come on. This is all that matters in the state. I don't live in the state, but I know that's all that matters in the state. This play will get talked about just like 2nd and 26, is that 4th and 40 will be immortalized. It'll be something that'll trigger Auburn fans for the rest of their lives. And as a person who wanted Auburn to win the game, as a person who was rooting for finally the upset in college football, we haven't had a great upset all year. This would have been the game to have the upset. You got to be... I'm just stunned. I can't believe it. I don't know what Auburn fans have done to deserve that type of brutality. I kind of had a feeling it would hit, too. I was nervous before the play, and then you call timeout before that play. And if I was Hugh Freeze, I mean, I would just say I'm never going to get over that till the day that I die. I mean, God, this guy crawled back, got disgraced at Ole Miss, goes to Liberty. Peyton Fourn was, an afterthought of the Mel Tucker. He plays the game of his life. He'll always be remembered for coming up short. And they win by 10. It's like, how does Saban do this, man? How does he do it? Nick Saban over there. He doesn't know what's going on. Doesn't know whether to call timeout. He's yelling at the refs over Milroe, overstepping the line of scrimmage. And yet he's walking out of Jordan-Hare just allotted 11-1. This is the same team that almost lost to South Florida. This is the same Bama team. It's witchcraft. It's some kind of witchcraft that Saban has. There's just going to be no one like Nick Saban again. You can't ever root against him. Total witchcraft.